So on the dynamic creative, what I was learning and everything was that like there's no longer one ad campaign isn't doing the job.
Sure.
There's not two ad campaigns that's doing the job. Like everyone's doing their A/B testing. However, when you're thinking about how our PPC campaigns, it's us giving Google all these phrases, all these
Yeah.
keywords, all this terminology, and they're kind of piecing it together based upon their viewer, what they think is the best messaging for them.
Sure.
And so what I've been diving into is on like Google Gen Ads was like a really big thing. And because like we were talking about Facebook and they're like, well, dynamic creatives, you can't just have one size. You need to be doing all the sizes.
Sure.
You need to be doing like your square, your 4:5 ratio, your vertical, your horizontal. And then everyone's like, well, that's a lot of creatives. And then I'm like, okay, but also Facebook, they like you to have 4 to 5 campaigns running. And so that's no longer your A, that's no longer your B. And then you also have to think about that you have to refresh it.
Yeah.
And so, because what I've done, my job is like, I will watch kind of like the trends and literally 2 months they drop.
Welcome to The Move In, a senior living marketing podcast from Unlock Health, a full-service marketing partner for the aging services industry. Join us for candid conversations exploring the latest marketing strategies with the senior living community leaders and innovative solution partners who are moving our industry forward. Together, we'll build a community to build better communities. Have you ever wondered why one digital ad campaign seems to crush it 1 month and then totally flop the next, even though you didn't change a thing? Hello, I'm Larry Williams, and welcome to the Move In Senior Living Marketing, powered by Unlock Health. You're not alone. In today's fast-moving world of digital marketing, what worked yesterday might already be stale today. In this episode, which was recorded at the Smash conference, we're diving into how marketers can keep up and even get ahead through dynamic creative optimization. My guest, Pandel Ludwig with American Senior Communities, shares how she's using data, testing, and AI to make sure every ad delivers the right message to the right person at the right time. Here's a quick look at what we spoke about in this conversation. Dynamic creative optimization, keeping ad campaigns fresh, personalized, and high-performing through continuous testing and variation. Data-driven insights, using analytics and call tracking to better understand engagement and refine your targeting. In storytelling and testimonials, leveraging authentic resident stories and short-form video to build trust and drive real connection. Let's jump into it. We are on the Move In Senior Living Marketing. I have my friend Pandel Ludwig. Yeah, did I get it?
You got it right.
Yes,
Yep.
Pandel Ludwig with American Senior Communities. You're the director of marketing, and we've known each other for about 2.5 years, I think. We got to connect at Smash a few years ago.
It's 4 years.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy to
I think
think
it's
about.
4
Like time
years.
flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
And so you've been so nice. You've come to our lunches. We got to connect. We catch up maybe about 3 times a year.
Yeah.
And you always have some insights you want to share, and I appreciate everything you've always provided guidance on. You're always looking for those better ways. And so as we were thinking about Smash this year, I was like, Pandel, please join us on the podcast. And what do you want to discuss? And I appreciate what you said, because initially it was one thing, and you're like, scratch that. I'm diving into something else. And what you landed on was dynamic creative optimization.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us more about that for everyone who's listening, what that means.
So on the dynamic creative, what I was learning and everything was that like there's no longer one ad campaign isn't doing the job.
Sure.
There's not two ad campaigns that's doing the job. Like everyone's doing their A/B testing. However, when you're thinking about how our PPC campaigns, it's us giving Google all these phrases, all these keywords, all this terminology, and they're kind of piecing it together based upon their viewer, what they think is the best messaging for them.
Sure.
And so what I've been diving into is on like Google Gen Ads was like a really big thing. And because like we were talking about Facebook and they're like, well, dynamic creatives, you can't just have one size. You need to be doing all the sizes.
Sure.
You need to be doing like your square, your 4:5 ratio, your vertical, your horizontal. And then everyone's like, well, that's a lot of creatives. And then I'm like, okay, but also Facebook, they like you to have 4 to 5 campaigns running. And so that's no longer your A, that's no longer your B. And then you also have to think about that you have to refresh it.
Yeah.
And so, because what I've done, my job is like I will watch kind of like the trends, and literally 2 months they drop and everything with engagement.
Yeah,
That's not
sure.
good for
It
social
makes sense
media.
why it would drop.
Mhm.
Once it gets a little stale, you need to keep it
Yep,
current. And going back to the optimization side of that, it's important to lean into it. It's hard,
correct.
but you need to.
Yes. And so one of the things that I learned a lot this year, which is very similar to PPC, is that your creative is not the only thing that you need. You need to have your 4 to 5 campaigns,
Yeah.
but you also need to be providing dynamic text.
Okay.
So then you're kind of giving them your platforms, you're giving them a toolbox instead of a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
One hammer is not fitting every situation. You're giving your Google Gen, you're giving your Facebook, you're giving your Meta, you're giving them all kinds of variety of campaigns,
Sure.
but you're also providing them text like short headlines, long headlines, your
Yeah.
descriptions, what your CTAs are, and you make them unique to all of them. And then I actually that's one of my favorite things to use AI for.
Okay.
Is
That's
that-
really good to know because we talk about AI, but it's good to hear that side of things.
Mhm.
Also.
And so, because like we have over 100 communities, and so I can't write. That would take me a long time.
You'd be
long
very busy.
time.
Yes.
And so I'll come up with, I'll do my character limits. I go through and like, okay, how many character limits? What's my limit? I need to make sure these 5 headlines are under. I
Sure.
want them to all be slightly different with the same topic of my campaign.
Yeah.
And then giving everyone that toolbox, you get that variety.
Okay.
And so they're giving at the right time, the right message to the right person.
I love that.
And so that's that's been so interesting to me.
Yeah.
And so, because Google Gen ads, obviously your vendors, they tell you all kinds of things, like, well, we have this product and this product and this
Sure.
product. And I'm always like, let me look into it. I want to see
Yeah.
the results. What's my ROI?
Mhm.
Because time is also money.
Yeah, for sure. And also, if you're not careful, you're missing out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just, the money, but you're missing out if you're not being proactive on this too.
Yes. And senior living is a competitive market.
It is. Yes.
And there's like people, companies where they're basically overspending in markets because they want to be number one.
Sure.
Even though they don't have anyone in that market.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like driving our cost up. So I'm always like, okay, where else can we be seen?
Yeah.
And on the Google Gen side, it's video, it's static.
Mhm.
And we're literally building that toolbox too. It's a little bit more in depth than on the dynamic Facebook ads and everything, but they're also getting posted on, like we have to house our videos on our YouTube channel and everything, because that's where Google Gen is pulling that over there and everything instead of embedding it, which I love.
Yes.
And then static's a little bit different, but they're going into different platforms. So what you're getting on your retargeting, what you're getting on your PPC, your Facebook, they're hitting different avenues. And so that also goes in a budget.
Yeah.
Like, when I'm looking at it, each community is not going to be spending the same. I might not put money into Facebook because I need the retargeting to be,
Sure.
having more budget on it.
Yeah.
And so Google Gen's a big thing for me next year. I've been
Nice.
testing it a lot this year.
And I'm so excited to hear how that goes.
I'm very excited because what I've learned on my testing, because we're focusing on conversions.
Mhm.
And so what I learned very quickly, we did a 2-month test, and that our conversions, the numbers were fine,
Yeah.
but our cost per click was so low.
Wow.
It was mind-boggling.
Yeah. Was it kind of scary?
It was like 12 cents.
Yeah. You're like, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Like, what am I missing?
Like all my oh gosh, Google PPC, that
Yeah,
could be
sure.
$6, $5.
Yes. And all of a sudden that drops.
and then 12
Yeah.
cents. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, that's going way farther than I thought it was.
For sure.
So
And again, it goes back to, am I missing something or am I just that good?
yes.
So tell me about the analytics side of optimizing these campaigns. Like, how are you able to, how do you expect to really leverage those analytics to optimize it further?
So when I'm looking at it, because I'm not telling them what to use,
Mhm.
I let all of my systems pick what they think that viewer wants to see.
Yeah.
I do not limit them. And so what I do on the analytics side of it, I'm looking to kind of see what is out there and which one's performing the highest.
Sure.
And then not only looking like what traction it's getting, I'm looking for who's engaging with it. Are they, everything has a call rate right now.
Yeah.
We're getting so, like, calls are back in my world.
Yeah.
And so, but it's not only like your call tracking, but your call rails. Because if you're not listening
That's
to
a big
what
part
they're
of it.
saying,
Yes.
and because like I asked my sales team a question because I was like, well, we had a print ad, a golf almanac, for a luxury
Yeah.
senior living. And I was like, so they had this many from the call rail in that ad.
Mhm.
I go, however, they didn't have any, it wasn't a lead to you. And I was like, explain that to me. And she goes, well, they probably called for talent acquisition.
Yeah.
I was like,
so that's the thing with senior living.
wow.
That's what our team has learned is listen to the calls. You'll learn a lot.
Mhm.
And yes, oh, that looks like a qualified call. No, actually, they were seeing if they can connect with a loved one,
Yeah.
or it's talent acquisition. There's so many other areas, and these are the areas we can learn from and lean further into. So I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Yes. And that's like all that data that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Because then if I see like they're looking at this ad, this one's the highest performing, I'm going to that call rail.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the categories that they've labeled them as. And if I'm saying like, okay, well, this ad's getting a lot of employment conversations, like, okay, maybe we need to do something more on the employment side over
Yeah.
here. And then that helps me do my refresh
Sure.
on that campaign moving forward.
So I think about like this is working within one community. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How have you leveraged the knowledge from that into other communities? I mean, I know there has to be some testing going on here that you can take into some of these other areas.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if you've gotten too far into that, but if you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it.
Testimonials would be my favorite part.
I love
And
that.
so repurposing
Yes.
content. I know we've talked about that before.
Sure, 100%.
I
Yeah.
know. And so like testimonials, it's a lot of work to get them and everything because your resident needs to be on board and getting your community members on, confident
Yes.
in gathering that for you.
Yeah.
So it's not, another resource, a videographer or something, especially if they're just testing it out, and no pressure on your resident.
Yeah.
And it's boosting that on Facebook is astronomical.
Okay.
Compared to like just an engagement activity.
Yeah.
You'll get so many more views, so many more clicks, so many interactions,
Yeah.
shares by just having a video testimonial.
Oh, sure.
Because it's our day and age. It's
It
short
is.
form video.
It's short form videos and it's telling a story. I think the story element that keeps like speaking to me in this space because like stories speak, people remember stories.
Yeah.
People like that's what stands out in a crowded market is the
Yeah.
story. And during a very emotional decision making process, stories carry on the emotional trust that people are ultimately seeking.
Yes. And if you think about like our industry, like what everyone's asking about is dining,
Sure.
activities.
Yeah.
But it's also their neighbors. And so I've learned
that
a lot.
community aspect.
Yes. And it's kind of like having the right people in that community and them coming into it on their tour and being like, I love it here.
Yeah.
And like them showing that because we do, oh gosh, kind of like advocates and everything.
yeah.
And so like residents love stepping up like as an ambassador.
That's
And they kind of like when you have a tour, you're like, hey, this person's going to kind of like take you to this activity. They're going to go take you to the dining room for lunch. And then they get to like tell them their
for sure.
experience.
And I think this group wants to be engaged and be, take part in this and have a fulfilling role in bringing new people on because they were probably that person who was once nervous and scared themselves.
Yes. And then if you think about loneliness,
Yes.
that's obviously like since COVID, that was a big major discovery. A lot of people went through it. But then as you like go into our industry with senior living, and then it's more crucial. And so having those conversations and learning that ahead of time and then doing all your personal touches on your tour and everything to where we get them in the door, which is always my thing. Everything right now is
Just
about
get to that point.
tours.
Yeah.
Like on my digital marketing, my goal is if that's not a move-in, how many tours did I get
Yeah.
from digital? And then I look at how many move-ins was it. And I'm like, okay, well, I got them in the door. So now let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And working with that team.
And I think once you get into the door, like get them to the door and have that conversation, you can help find out if it's a good fit or not.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you ultimately want to create that connection point so you can help them decide what those next steps are.
Yeah.
And then also put a face with the name.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so important. Where do you see this going in the future, Pandel?
I just see it getting more advanced.
I agree.
I think we're in a very it's ever changing right
Yeah.
now. Everything's new, everything's moving fast. And if I'm over here thinking like, well, I just learned this year so
Yeah.
far on what Google wants to see, what Meta is saying.
Yeah.
It's no longer Facebook ads,
Yeah.
Meta ads,
Sure.
and all those integrations.
Yeah.
And how do you get more content refresh?
Mm.
And that's where I'm thinking AI is going to come into play at one point.
Yeah.
And just kind of like even just resizing and everything, having those tools that cuts down your time
Yeah.
to get more content without drowning something.
And I agree. I think the AI part is going to be huge because you can move a lot faster with this resizing with the content that's matching.
Yes.
So awesome. Pandel, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so glad we've talked about you joining the podcast for such a long time. I'm glad we were able to finally make it happen. Where can people find you?
Oh gosh, I'm at American Senior Communities. I'm on LinkedIn, so that's probably like the
Yes.
best place to find me
Yeah.
professionally. So
Well, you're the best. I appreciate you and look forward to chatting with you more around the conference.
yeah,
Awesome.
always.
All right. Thank you.
What a great conversation with Pandel Ludwig from American Senior Communities. I love how she broke down dynamic creative optimization, not as some buzzword, but as a real practical way to make your campaign smarter and more personal. Before we wrap up, here are a few quick takeaways that I made notes of from our conversation. First, keep your creative fresh. Don't let your ads go stale. Rotate your visuals, headlines, and formats every couple of months to keep engagement strong. Second, listen beyond the metrics. Use tools like CallRail to actually hear what your leads are saying. It's one of the best ways to understand intent and refine your campaigns. And third, never underestimate the power of authentic voices. Resident testimonials and short-form videos can tell your story in a way that data alone never could. Thanks again to my friend Pandel for joining us, and until next time, let's go create some meaningful connections.